this probably, where we're at in the cycle of flex space, it's hot right now. You probably got, what, about a 3 to 4 win year
Yeah.
before this thing is saturated.
There might be a little bit longer. Yeah. Yeah.
Longer.
Yeah.
But the key in business is to catch something before it gets too hot. If you look at every asset class, apartments 10, 12 years, 15 years ago were the, hottest thing since sliced bread, that ship ran. Some people made a lot of money. Some people are losing a lot of money now. But this is an asset class that you're going to better get into that actually makes a lot of money that's still early on. So let's pay attention to this, because I'm building 4 TBs right now on some commercial property I have. So we have Mr. Chris. I am going to try to pronounce some
Papadopoulos. Greek as could be.
a badass.
But yeah. People remember the last name.
Papadopoulos.
Yes.
That's all. So, Chris, you've done a lot of deals. You went through the whole cycle. You flipped and wholesale probably 1,000 properties.
Still doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Built a big, massive apartment portfolio.
Yeah.
Of 700
about 800 some units. Yeah.
100 units, apartments. And you kind of transition into flex space how long ago?
About 2-3 years ago.
3 years ago. Let's talk about where you came from, like when you first started your career up until now, and why you got into flex space, and what's the benefits and how these guys can get into it too.
So it's like I'm hearing all these conversations today. It's like everybody's going away from all the brain damage stuff. And to me, this has been the answer. It's like anti-brain damage. And it's like, or you could say like return on brain damage. Like I'm okay with it as long as there's a return. And so this is what I've found to be is the most return for the least amount of brain damage is what I'm experiencing. Cause so I went through it's like super high level. I've been flipping about 100 houses a year for the past like 5 years. Started flipping like 10 years ago. And talking about brain damage business, right? That's the brain damage business is flipping houses. So I've been did that for a while, and then I was talking like so a lot of people around here where they got these big tax bills. And so about 5 years ago, I got my first really big tax bill, and I'm like, all right, went to a couple of multifamily masterminds. Like that's going to be my answer, right? I'm going to go buy a bunch of multifamily apartments. I'm going to get to that 1,000 unit number. And that's my goal. I'm going to go all in. And so I went that way, and I've experienced a lot of brain damage in multifamily, a lot. And I did it. I kind of stopped buying about 1.5 years ago to the point, and I just now got stabilized just now to where all the debt service is covered. And now I'm like, okay, I want to sell everything. It's just like kind of what you're saying, like there's a life cycle on it. These apartments that were 100% occupied, brand new renovated stuff. I'm like, how are we back at 85% again? It was just full like 3 months ago. And so it's just like, it's good. It's got the equity there. But then I kind of we started looking at and buying these flex buildings. And, like we're buying them based on what they're at right now. And then waiting a lot for the tenants to turn, and then just bringing them to market. And doubling or tripling or quadrupling the value in like a couple of years. And all we're doing is basically just signing triple net leases on them. And there's just not a lot of complications, BS, tenants. They're just it's a metal concrete block with 4 walls, and that's it. And so I've just really kind of like, we've started marketing hard on them right now. And that's like the main thing we're doing. They were from like 5 to 20,000 square feet, where some of them are just individual freestanding buildings, and some of them can be chopped up into smaller units. And so, it's basically just buying. What I've seen is a lot of these guys a lot of the people I bought from we're marketing, just doing like what you guys are doing. So you can plug it into your existing marketing. All you guys just take the list, update it, and then just blast the people on the same list for small industrial and warehouses and outdoor storage. And you'll get the same leads. Like you guys could literally have all your wholesale companies just plug this in right now. I have a couple of friends that are in my market that have wholesale companies. They just changed their list, started hitting it, and they bought stuff within 3 months. $500,000 equity to industrial storage list. And so they're just pulling the data and then just syncing it into that existing thing. So So kind of what I thought would be easier would be just to like run over because if has anybody bought a retail or flex building in here at all? Anybody? Okay. And so I'm just gonna like super high level, hey, you look at it. So when they come in to our this is the living room. So
I'm gonna move that whiteboard. Go wheels.
oh sweet.
Oh, art. Putting on wheels.
So I'm just gonna like I'm more of like a tactic hands-on guy, like, hey, you go listen to a whole thing, but then like, what does that mean? How do I do it? And so I want to just show you, like, I'm just gonna run through deals and then just because these are actually the most simple deals to analyze, as it's really just like, hey, what is the market rent? So you just take market rent annually and divide it by like 0.075, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna like run through them and give examples. So this is like these are 3 individual storage buildings. This was actually part of an old airport. You can see the landing strip. Can you see that? And it's 3 individual storage hangars. And this lead came in and we just plugged it in and called, hey, what do you want for this? 400 grand. We're like, okay, it's 3,000 square foot buildings. Well, it's 400 grand. Okay. So what are they renting for now? They're like $1,500 each. And so, okay, well, what do they rent for? About 10 a foot. So we just go, you can go on like Loot. If you can actually get a CoStar subscription for about $200-300 a month, and you can just log in there and type in the address, and it'll tell you the market rent for this property. So you don't have to actually guess that much, and then just do the math. So this is bringing in. We think we can rent them for $3,000 a month times 3. It's $9 grand a month. So that's what it would bring in a year. So to keep it very simple, that's your NOI divided by 0.075. So if you're ever looking at stuff and you're like, you have your VAs or anybody can do it, just take what the market rent would be divided by 0.075. It didn't appraise. It appraised for 1, but I mean, this is a rough idea. And the guy wants 400 grand. Okay, lock it up. You see what I'm saying? And so all we did, it was basically take the 3 existing people in there, 2 of them turned, the other one brought it to market and created value. So, but like why I love this is we're all talking about mobile home parks, apartment communities, brain damage, turning tenants. Like this is a metal building on a concrete slab. There's no bathrooms. There's no plumbing. There are many splits in these that we put in. So like, there's nothing to it. And so now it's like that conversation of you guys are having, like, I'm looking at my portfolio and I've literally got it like planned out from A to B, how I'm going to get rid of from my shittiest to my best stuff and move it into bigger things like this, because now I can take all my stuff that has the most R&M and just move it into something like this with no R&M. And, you know, they're not so it costs so much to build these now that the only real size they're building at scale is like 50 to 200,000. Most of the small stuff is not being built. And so like small ones like this aren't going away. And really the smaller, the better, because you're going to get a higher price per square foot for stuff like this than you will just anything of the larger scale. And so, yeah, I mean, I love them because there's not much to them and they're super simple. And so like what we're also seeing is like, here's one that I bought like 2.5 years ago. Okay. So I'm just gonna like run through this deal and I'm just trying to like show them. So when you see them come in, you're like, cause like the biggest thing for me was like, it took me about 6 months to really understand, hey, what is this a deal? Does this make sense? And so this guy had a lease on this building and I bought it for exactly what it was worth at the time. He had, some nonprofit in there for like $4 grand a month. They were paying like $5 a foot. And you look at them on LoopNet and it was like $12 a foot. I'm like, dang, like, you know, this is half a market. He's like, all right, well, I want $750,000 for it. Okay, cool. Well, do the math, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what it appraised for. And so the tenant had 2 years left on it. We just let it run off. And then we took it to, once they moved out, we ended up getting 15 a foot for it, which took it from like 750 to about, I think it appraised for like 2 million. And then we did do a little CapEx. We did HVACs and like gave him like 3 months free rent for an interiors, and they put a gym in there.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and so
Go in there. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so they're paying everything.
that place said that when it's 3,000, they just $9,000. I would $9,000 not without any.
Yeah, so these are all triple net, and so you're billing them back. They're covering all the expenses, and so if you're like 10 grand a month, you're adding like, let's say 2 grand a month is insurance and taxes. They just pay you 12 grand a month, and then they cover everything. And so if they have any problems, then it's on them. And so, like, to me, I just love this. It's so much simpler. It's so much easier. And the one thing that's not like changing is, I think we're talking about our tenant base and the people. I would much rather have a contractor or a serviceman in there, right? What we're saying is not going to change. Service people are not changing. I would rather have them as my tenants, because they're going to be the backbone of the economy. As AI changes, like the contractors and plumbers, and what's the likelihood of them not paying you rent when they have all these employees and all this,
You gotta stop it.
Exactly. Like they're not, and it's 2-3 grand a month. It's not like 20 grand, a lot of these small bay, kind of what I've seen with this stuff is the smaller, the better. Usually the sweet spot's like 1,000 to like 5,000 square feet. When you get like 5,000 and more, you get a little bit more sophisticated, and it's a different type of tenant.
All a bit better.
Yeah. And so you just get a lot of trades guys, a lot of storage guys, and it's easier from what I've seen. But like, I just think this is something that it's something that I didn't realize a couple of years ago was like an option, and I would have started earlier with it, because I kind of went really hard on the multifamily road. But what I realized, these is like, they're better than anything, because like once you get them in place, you can buy them at a discount. There's just not much to them. Like, I mean, this person signed a 5-year lease, and they have a 5-year renewal, and so it goes up 3.5 every year, and you just ride the way through. So, there's not really much management in these. I mean, they've had a couple of roof leaks, and we sent a roofer out there, but nothing real crazy. I mean, it's a metal building again, so it's not that complicated. But what I'm saying is, I think all of y'all should be, if you have your systems already in place, it's probably no harm for you just to pull a list and start marketing for them, and just plug it in, and then you can get a couple of them. But like, so like, I'll just kind of run through them and let you guys ask questions as you want. So this is one that we had where this was, as they're coming in, this guy owned a welding company. He was operating out of this building. Let me show you a better picture. But it was a welding yard, and it was full of exterior stuff. So let me pause for a second. One of the big value things right now is that you can get a building, which is great, but if you get a building with an acre or two, really 2 or 3, that's going to be the best value for all of them, because these guys that have trade companies, they have a place to park their 15 trucks. And, so our tenant for this ended up being the city of Durham, like the county, like the actual city. They needed a place to work on all their ambulances. So this is crazy, right? This is the best part about it. This building is in shit condition. The guy had a welding business in there. I mean, he beat the dog shit out of this building. And these are ChatGPT pictures, by the way. These are not real. You could not put anyway. So we had the city of Durham come in, and they were in such need of a place. They're like, look, we'll take it as is. We'll take it for 15 a foot, which was like a lot. And we're gonna put 350 grand into the building for you. Just give us 2 months of free rent, and we'll build it out. So they're gonna put sprinklers. They're gonna HVAC it, and a lot of times they'll do the build out, and you just give them free rent. And so like you get situations like that where the tenants, and now they're gonna sign a 5-year lease. And here's the thing: do you think the city is gonna leave after 5 years after they put 350 grand to your building? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now I've got a revenue stream for, they usually don't, the last place they were building in for was 15 years. And so, that just kind of shows You have to be 100, but it's like when these leads come in, you can just say, hey, pull the loop net. What would it rent for? And then make offers kind of based off less of that. But here's another interesting thing is that if you wanted to in a lot of these, like I was talking to, I think him, and he had you had one where it was like, hey, I've got a 5-acre lot. A couple of people. So it's like, you got just a lot, say 3 acres. And so you can rent a lot of those, just put gravel down and fence them. And industrial outdoor storage is a huge thing right now. And I mean, talk about the best asset ever, a gravel parking lot. You don't have to do anything. Like that excites me right there. Cause it's like, I mean, look, there's no maintenance. And they come in and they'll just rent them from you. And like, so we had a 3-acre lot. We put it up, just testing out the market. We had a guy within a few days say he would take it, and he wanted to sign like a 5-year lease at 3.5% on just dirt. So those are averaging in our market like 2,000 to 4,000 an acre. So if you guys looking at your portfolios, maybe even a mobile home park, I don't know how, like if it's in a good area, like you're saying you're around $700,000 homes, like if the city allow it, take that little parcel right there and you rent it out for $2-3 a month. You can fence it in, put some like netting fencing so you can't see it's like private because they might require certain things, and just rent it out for dirt.
No camera.
You could do whatever you want. Like you could scrabble it and put up fencing with whatever they're requiring, and you could bring an acre of land per acre. That's in my market. Some markets are $4 or $5,000. Some markets might be 500 to 1,000. But I mean, I think you guys could all just look at what you own and just be like, hey, like this is in a good area, a good city. Let me carve this out right here and lease it out. I mean, and it was good. I think it was gonna be like $7,500 a month or something like that. And this is dirt that I'm not even using. So it was like, it's great. It's just called industrial outdoor storage. And so like another big thing right now is I have a buddy who owns a big park in Cleveland. And what he did is he had 4 acres and he's renting it for truck parking. And so it's right beside a highway. And so what he's doing is right off the highway. So this logistics company is renting it from him. And they're just like, hey, I need a place to park 20 trucks. And he's just charging $250 per truck per month. And they just come park their trailers there. They drop them and move them every whatever. And it's the easiest way, without BS, without headache, without return on brain debt. You know what I'm saying? So that's what excites me, because it's like, it's a logistics company. It's huge. And they're just printing me $250 a month. So
Where are you advertising? Like your quick.
Facebook Marketplace. Or yeah, I mean, on the bigger stuff, we're obviously doing like LoopNet, Crexy, all places like that. But I mean, the sweet spot is like 20,000 and less. The smaller, the better. When you get bigger institutional type people, and you have more competition. But the small buildings, there's huge demand for them. So not on the smaller stuff. The bigger, the better. So I got a big building right now I've been trying to lease out.
What do you consider small, big, and for
20,000 or less. So
you shop them up, you put it down, you're gonna shop it up in 4 or 5 down here per.
yeah, I'm gonna show you a big one I'm doing. So the tiers is like, it starts with your small contractor base is like 1 to 3,000. That's where you're gonna get the highest price per square foot, obviously, and like you'll rent them in a week. They're the highest demand. And they're just going to be the easiest, quickest to turn. And when you get to like 3 to 5,000, it's kind of a different tenant tier. Guy's second stage, we're growing a business, and he's going to pay a little bit more, and he needs, maybe bathrooms. He needs a small office, like, and then you get like 5 to 20, and that's like the third tier people. When you get about 20 and above, you're kind of dealing with a larger company at that point, and they're going to need like a nicer, kind of bigger build, but it's just a different tenant base. But to answer your question, the smaller the better. Like those ones I just showed you, these 3,000 square foot ones, we rented these in like a few weeks. So there's a huge demand for these things. Yeah, this one took about 3 months to lease. and it was to a gymnastics training company who does like Olympic training for like tumbling and like the foam pits and stuff. And I mean, they kill it. They were making like $1 million a year.